guys, Schmitty here. Welcome back to another video, and today we are doing our final episode of our 5 COD countdown. Today we are doing Call of Duty World War II. And so today we're finally going to be saying goodbye to this game because Black Ops 4 here, at least in North America, is only 11 hours away from launch. Of course, there's a bunch of people playing it right now, but those are early copies. The official launch is 11 hours away, at least from the time of recording this. And so today we're going to say our final goodbyes, and, you know, some of us are good riddances to Call of Duty World War II. I do want to get one thing out of the way, though, real quick regarding Black Ops 4. Tonight, I will be live streaming. Once the game launches, I will be live streaming. Most likely going to be playing the multiplayer tonight. We'll see if we get into any of the other game modes. But tonight, about midnight Eastern time, when the game launches, I will be going live here on the channel playing some Black Ops 4. But to the topic of today's video, COD World War II, we're here to say goodbye. The game that, when announced, had so much promise and had a lot of people hyped, and what looked to be potentially the savior for Call of Duty when it was announced. The return to boots on the ground gameplay, the return of the World War II era, which is where Call of Duty originally started way back in the beginning of its series. And coming off the advanced movement era, a lot of people were very excited to get an entirely new, different era. Boots on the ground era where we don't have jetpacks anymore. And, you know, we're playing in a past era rather than the future era, which we had had for so long. Well, as we all know, come launch time, the game did not turn out so well. It had one of the most horrific launches in all of video games, honestly, but surely the Call of Duty series. Largely in part due to the new headquarters space that they had, which was the new social space for Call of Duty for this game. Connections were awful. People were having trouble loading into the game. We actually had to switch off of dedicated servers and play on peer-to-peer connection for... it was a little bit under a week or something like that. Then it took over a month for the headquarters to properly work how it should have. And of course, not just connection issues, content issues as well. There was a lack of content in this game, of course, only launching with 9 maps. And all those maps, at least in the vast majority opinion, were some of the worst we had seen in Call of Duty. This year also brought a brand new create a class system, being the divisions. While it was a very cool idea when it came out to have specific divisions tied and kind of pay homage to a lot of stuff from the World War II era in that way, and designing a perk system around that, it really was something that made for a lack of customization and a lack of options when creating your own personalized class in this game. You had things like suppressors on SMGs that were only tied to one division, bayonets were only tied to one division. If you were to pick up a sniper and you didn't have the mountain class on, you didn't get the bonus effects of the sniper sharpshooter. There were just a lot of things that were only tied to a division, and it just made for a lack of customization. It really made you pick and choose what you wanted, which I guess some people like, but doesn't take away the fact that it took away a lot of customization options. And for me, at least at the beginning of the game, I really didn't have an issue with it. I enjoyed playing it for a good month and a half, 2 months or so. Then things started to dwindle. I actually stuck with the game a little bit longer than some of my friends did, and then I don't know if it was just kind of the honeymoon effect that had finally wore off, or what it was, but playing the same maps over and over, and the maps, you know, like I said, were not very good, to put it nicely. The flow of the game wasn't very good. There was a lot of camping in this game. I just really started to get annoyed with the game in a lot of different aspects. And I tried and tried to push through it and to find a new way to enjoy the game and all sorts of different ways, but finally in about March or somewhere around that area, I decided to totally put away COD World War II and say that I was done with the game. Of course, being that the game is a Call of Duty game, they did last for a little bit, month and a half, 2 months or so. I did eventually come back to this game, start enjoying it more, and what brought me back to the game was the new Divisions overhaul. This is one of the biggest updates and changes that we had ever seen to Call of Duty, and it was something that was great to see for COD World War II, and it's unfortunate that it couldn't come earlier or even at launch. The Divisions overhaul totally reworked this game, mainly taking the division system, which just was so, I guess, tied to one thing, and like I said, didn't allow for customization. It really broadened it out and allowed for a lot more options and different preferences for people and just different ways to play around with your classes than what was really allowed before. It reworked some basic trainings and added and removed some. It just totally gave a whole rework to the create a class system in Call of Duty. And it got a lot of people hyped, especially me. Even though I had given up on the game, I looked at this and said, wow. Like when I stopped playing the game originally, I said it's going to take something massive for me to want to come back to this game, because it just doesn't seem like they're going to really change anything about this game that's going to make me want to play it. Of course, not too long after that, the Divisions overhaul came out, which did bring me back to the game, and I did enjoy it a lot more after that. Even with that, though, the fact still remained of the maps weren't very good, and there was a lack of them, and the flow of the game just was not the best. The style and the way the game was played just didn't really fit the way I like to play Call of Duty. And I feel like one of the things that hurt it for me the most was there was really no skill gap at all in this game. I feel like no matter how much time you put in this game or all the things you did, that, you know, anybody could kill you using a variety of different things. I didn't really feel rewarded for the time I put in and felt like I was getting any better. In fact, I don't feel like I improved at all playing this game, because all it really took was somebody to throw on the combat shotgun with, you know, an extended barrel, and you know, that's all they needed. That thing can hit halfway across the map. Of course, don't even get me started about the incendiary shells with those things. And sniping was probably some of the most overpowered that it's been in Call of Duty history in this game. Now, when I say anybody can snipe in COD World War II, I mean anybody can snipe in COD World War II. In Black Ops 3, when they totally reworked it, totally took out aim assist for sniping, it took me months to get good with sniping in Black Ops 3, but once I finally did, once I put the time in and got better with it, then I could snipe in that game. In this game, right out of the box, I could snipe, no problem, felt like I was in phase, and on the receiving end of it, it just made it so much worse. The things I hate the most in Call of Duty are getting killed by things that just kill you instantly, you never feel like you have a chance, and when the shotguns and the snipers in this game are some of the most overpowered they've ever been in Call of Duty, that only added on to the frustration for me. But getting away from the things that annoy me about COD World War II, I do want to give credit where credit is due to Sledgehammer Games. For a game that launched so poorly, for a game that was ridiculed as soon as it came out, and for a long time after that, and still to this day is ridiculed and looked at as being one of the worst Call of Duties, they didn't stop the studio of Sledgehammer from putting in the work to try and make this game better. It didn't stop them from, you know, even though 6 months after launch, they could have just let the game die as it was, but they put out a Division's Overhaul update, which totally reworked the game. And I feel like with the new leads over there at Sledgehammer Games being Aaron Halan and you know, now the removal, or I guess the stepping down of Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield, I have a little bit more confidence now in Sledgehammer Games going into the next title, which I might not have been had none of this been changed with COD World War II. I feel like with all the updates to COD World War II and Aaron Halan taking over in the studio, just really taking it into overdrive and never backing down with putting updates in this game, I really feel confident that Sledgehammer can put out a very good product their next time around. I really feel they tried to make COD World War II the best game they could post-launch, but the base of it just didn't allow for it as much as they would like to. Maybe part of that's got to do with the era being the limitations of the historical accuracy, which later on in the game they got away from, which I'm glad they did. I think one thing that this game shows, and that we saw from like Battlefield 1 and we're going to see from Battlefield 5, is that the old eras just don't work that well in this day and age of gaming, especially if you're going to try and make it historically accurate. And so while it's unfortunate that what was supposed to be the savior to the Call of Duty franchise really turned out to be a big flop, I have to give credit where credit is due to Sledgehammer for never backing down, for continuing to support their game. And whether I enjoyed it or not, the fact that they put in all of that content and continue to support the game for all the people that did enjoy it, my hat's off to them for that. Do I personally think that Sledgehammer made a top Call of Duty game this year with COD World War II? No, I don't. Do I feel that COD World War II definitely had the potential to? Yes. But unfortunately for me, and I know some people are going to see it different, that potential really never got shown with this game. And to me, I'm always going to look at the maps. I think one of the things this game showed is that good maps and a good variety of them really help out a game and its longevity. You know, not only is 9 maps totally unacceptable for a thing to have at launch, especially in this day and age in 2018 where more content is more and more required with games, they weren't good. They weren't balanced. They didn't allow for any flow. I honestly wish I could have enjoyed this game more. It wasn't a matter of I didn't want to. There's not a Call of Duty game out there I don't want to enjoy. And it kind of sucks to see that the game, you know, at least for me and a lot of other people, never really could live up to the potential that it had. But like I said, looking on the positive note here, Sledgehammer has shown that they're dedicated, and I'm confident now in their next game with the change of hands in studio. I mean, if they can support what was essentially a dead game to the majority of the Call of Duty community, you know, I'm excited to see what they can do with hopefully a game that bodes well with the community. But Sledgehammer, COD World War II, it was a good run. It was fun for a little bit. I wish I could have enjoyed the game more, but I guess when it comes down to it, it just wasn't for me. But like I've said multiple times, and like I'll continue to stand by, my hat's off for the dedication and the continued support with COD World War II, whether I or anybody else enjoyed it or not. It's easy to support a game when you're getting a lot of support back. It really shows character when you can support a game when you're getting a lot of hate for it. Anyway, COD World War II, this is goodbye. And for a lot of people, good riddance. Unfortunately for me, you guys didn't quite hit it this time, but hopefully next time, come around in 2020 with your supposedly Vietnam-era game, you guys can nail it. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below on COD World War II, the cycle it went through. Any thoughts you want to leave down below on COD World War II, be sure to do that down below in the comments. Again, I'll be live streaming tonight Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at midnight Eastern time when the game launches, so I hope to see you guys out there for that. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, if you did, make sure to smack the Schmidt, add a like button down below. If you guys are new to the channel, looking forward to reviewing content, you guys in the right place, hit the subscribe button down below as well. And turn notifications on so you guys know when those videos go live. So if you guys all have a good one, I will see you guys on another video. So long, everybody.